Sometimes a single phone call is enough to destroy everything you thought was real. That's exactly what happened to Elena Morales one quiet Tuesday morning. Elena had just sat down with her warm cup of tea after reviewing monthly reports for her interior design business. Life had finally begun to calm after her daughter Isabella's grand wedding a month ago. A perfect day, or so she thought. Just as she picked up her pen, her phone buzzed. The screen showed an unknown number. Elena almost ignored it, but something, instinct or fate, made her swipe answer. "Miss Morales?" A woman's trembling voice spoke. "This is Carla Henders, the wedding photographer. I need to meet you immediately. Please come alone, and please don't tell Isabella." Elena sat up straighter. "Carla, what happened? Is everything okay? I I found something in the photos, something serious, something you need to see with your own eyes." Elena's chest tightened as if someone had gripped her ribs. "What kind of something?" "I can't explain on the phone. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., my studio downtown. Please, Ms. Morales, come alone." Before Elena could ask anything else, the line went dead. She lowered the phone slowly, feeling the room shift under her. Her gaze drifted to the framed photo on her wall. Isabella in her wedding dress, glowing with joy, standing beside Adrian, the perfect son-in-law everyone adored. What could possibly be so horrible that the photographer refused to say it aloud? Just then, footsteps entered the doorway. It was her younger niece, Maya, who had been living with Elena for 2.5 years, temporarily after a breakup. "Elena," Maya said sharply, holding her phone and a set of keys. "Remember you promised to help me upgrade my car this month? I can't drive around in that old thing anymore. It's embarrassing." "Not now." Elena forced her voice calm. "We'll talk about it later, sweetheart." Maya frowned. "Later? I need to go to the dealership this week. Everyone laughs at that car. Elena, please be serious." But Elena barely heard her. Her mind was trapped between worry and suspicion. What could be in those photos? What could be so bad that Carla begged her to come alone and keep it secret from Isabella? That night, Elena barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, one question echoed like a warning. What happened at the wedding that she didn't see? And why did the photographer sound like someone who had witnessed something she wished she could unsee? Have you ever felt fear without knowing why? The kind that grows heavier with every step you take? That is exactly how Elena Morales felt the next morning as she drove toward downtown. She had left home before Maya woke up. She didn't want to answer questions or hear complaints about the car again. Elena drove in silence, hands tight around the steering wheel, replaying Carla's trembling voice over and over, something serious. "Come alone. Don't tell Isabella." The city was waking up slowly. Sunlight hit the tall buildings, but nothing felt warm. Not today. Elena parked outside the photography studio, a renovated warehouse with large glass windows and white curtains. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears as she walked toward the door. Carla opened it the moment she knocked, eyes tired, hands shaking. "Thank you for coming," Carla whispered. "Please, come inside. I didn't want anyone else around." The studio smelled like fresh coffee and printed paper. Wedding photos hung neatly on the walls. Beautiful memories, beautiful lies, Elena would soon find out. Carla led her into a smaller editing room dimly lit, except for a large monitor glowing in the center. She took a deep breath as if preparing herself. "Elena, I almost didn't call you. I kept telling myself to stay out of it, but if this were my daughter," her voice cracked. Elena felt her stomach twist. "Please, just show me." Carla clicked a folder on the screen. Photos from Isabella's wedding appeared. Bright, perfect moments. Isabella walking down the aisle. Adrian smiling proudly. Guests clapping. "These are the photos you saw," Carla said softly. "But this," she clicked a second folder. "This is what you didn't see." The screen changed. It showed Adrian, Isabella's husband, still in his tuxedo, jacket unbuttoned, standing on a balcony 2 hours before the ceremony. He wasn't alone. A woman with long, copper-red hair stood close to him. Too close. Adrian's hand was on her waist. Her hand rested on his chest. Their faces were inches apart. Then, in the next photo, they were kissing. Elena froze. Her breath caught. Her fingers gripped the back of the chair so hard her knuckles turned white. When exactly was this?" she whispered. Carla opened the metadata panel. Timestamps, GPS, everything. 2 hours before the ceremony. "Down to the minute," Carla said quietly. "I didn't mean to capture it. I was testing camera angles through the glass." Photo after photo, angle after angle, proof after proof. The red-haired woman wore a wedding band, a married woman, kissing Adrian. Hours before he married Isabella. Elena stepped back, lightheaded. The room felt too small, too loud, too real. Why would Adrian marry Isabella? If he was with another woman on the same day? Her mind raced. What if this marriage wasn't what it seemed? What if Isabella was in danger without even knowing it? But what Elena didn't know was that the photos were only the beginning, and the truth behind the marriage was far darker than she ever imagined. It's terrifying when your mind starts connecting dots you never wanted to see. That's what happened to Elena Morales the moment she left Carla's studio. She walked to her car in slow, heavy steps. The bright Phoenix morning burned overhead, but she felt cold, ice cold. Her palms were sweating, her heart beat loud enough to drown the city noise. She sat behind the wheel, closed her eyes, and whispered the same question again and again. Why did Adrian marry my daughter if he was already with someone else? The steering wheel felt like stone beneath her fingers. Elena forced herself to breathe and started the engine. The drive home blurred by in a whirl of confused thoughts. Isabella's joyful laughter at the wedding, Adrian's charming smile, their perfect first kiss as a married couple. The expensive ceremony, the guests, the gifts, the blessings. Was any of it real? Or was her daughter played in a way she never imagined? Elena reached home just before noon. As she walked inside, she heard familiar voices, loud ones, in the living room. Maya and her boyfriend Dylan were arguing over a credit card bill, not noticing Elena standing in the hall. Just ask Elena, Maya hissed. She gives in every time. Tell her it's urgent. Dylan scoffed. Your aunt won't keep paying forever. Maya flipped her hair. Of course she will. She always does. Elena's heart, already cracked by the morning, split a little more. She quietly stepped back, went to her office, and closed the door without saying a word. But she couldn't sit still. Her hands shook as she pulled out the wedding expense file she had kept neatly in a drawer. Receipts, lists, checks, all the money she'd spent to make her daughter's day perfect. $52,000, her entire savings for that year. Then she remembered something else, a detail she had brushed off at the time. Isabella insisted that all wedding gifts be in cash. No registry, no items. Cash is easier for us to start life, Isabella had said. Now Elena wondered, was that really Isabella's idea or Adrian's influence? She grabbed a notebook and began writing everything down. Wedding cost, guest list, total gift amount, Adrian's sudden eagerness to help count the envelopes, the mysterious red-haired woman, the exact time of the kiss, just 2 hours before the vows, Adrian asking Isabella to keep finances between them. The puzzle pieces were connecting into a picture Elena did not want to see. She stared at the notebook, at the hundreds of small details she had ignored for the sake of peace. And then, her phone buzzed. A message from Isabella. Mom, Adrian and I found a beautiful house. We need help with the down payment. Can you talk today? Elena froze. A down payment. More money, right when she discovered the truth. Her fingers trembled as she held the phone. Was Isabella asking innocently? Or was this down payment request part of a bigger plan she didn't even know she was part of? Sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you discover, it's what people ask from you right after. That's exactly what Elena felt when she read Isabella's message asking for help with a house down payment. The timing was too sharp, too perfect, too suspicious. Just hours after seeing Adrian kissing another woman on their wedding day, her daughter suddenly wanted tens of thousands of dollars. Elena sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the message. Her hands trembled slightly. She didn't want to assume the worst about her own daughter, but the doubt had planted itself like a seed she couldn't ignore. She typed back slowly. We'll talk later today. Moments later, she heard heavy footsteps approaching. She didn't need to check who it was. Maya, and she didn't knock. She never did. Elena, Maya called, leaning inside the doorway with her phone in hand. Dylan and I talked. We really need that car upgrade. Can you help us this week? Not today, not now. Elena inhaled slowly. Maya, we'll discuss it later. I'm busy. Maya frowned and annoyed. Why is everyone telling me later? What's going on with you? You've been acting weird. Before Elena could respond, Dylan shouted from the living room. Ask her again. She'll say yes if you keep pressing. Maya smirked. See, even he knows you always give in. Elena closed her eyes. She felt something inside her shift, a painful, breaking thing she didn't know existed until now. She walked past Maya without a word and entered her home office. She closed the door firmly, letting the silence soak in. She needed answers. She needed control. She needed to stop being everyone's solution while her own life was falling apart. At 6 p.m., Isabella arrived. She walked in like sunshine, polished, sweet, smiling. A perfect daughter, or at least she had always seemed that way. Mom, Isabella said warmly, hugging her, I missed you. Elena hugged back, but her heart felt heavy. After they sat in the living room, Isabella began. So, Adrian and I found the perfect home in Scottsdale. It's amazing, Mom. 4 bedrooms, modern kitchen, a backyard big enough for future kids. Elena watched her carefully. We just need a little help, Isabella continued. $35,000 just until we settle in. A little help? $35,000. Elena's voice stayed calm, but her chest was tight. Why do you need the down payment so urgently? Isabella hesitated. Because we don't want to lose the house. And Adrian thinks you'll support us. He said you're good with these things. Elena's stomach dropped. Adrian was sure she'd pay, almost as if he was counting on it. Elena studied her daughter's face, looking for signs, for guilt, for anything, but Isabella simply smiled. Mom, you trust Adrian, right? Elena swallowed hard. How could she answer that, knowing what she had seen? And what if Isabella wasn't as innocent as she appeared? The most painful truths are the ones you hear by accident. Elena learned this the following morning, when a single overheard phone call shattered the last pieces of her trust. After Isabella left, Elena barely slept. Her mind played the photos like a cruel slideshow. Adrian's hands on the red-haired woman, their kiss, their comfort, the timing. 2 hours before the wedding. By sunrise, Elena felt sick with confusion and fear. She needed space, so she went downstairs to make tea, hoping the quiet morning would help her think. But as she reached the kitchen, she froze. Maya's voice floated from upstairs. Too loud, too careless. She was on a video call. Elena didn't mean to listen, and she simply stood there, stunned, as the words poured down the stairs. I'm telling you, Maya said with a laugh. Elena is acting strange lately. But don't worry, we can stay here another 5 or 6 months easily. She always caves eventually. Elena felt her heartbeat spike. 5 or 6 months. They'd already stayed 2.5 years, rent-free. Then a second voice came through the speaker, Isabella's voice. Elena's breath caught. Maya, keep her distracted, Isabella said sharply. I need her focused on your needs so she doesn't question mine. Once she helps us with the down payment, everything is set. Maya giggled. Oh, she'll help. She always does. I asked her for the car again yesterday. She looked annoyed, but she'll break soon. Elena leaned against the wall, her knees trembling. Isabella continued. Good. If Elena is busy dealing with your stuff, she won't look too closely at Adrian and me. After the house settles, I'll handle things. Handle what things? Maya asked. You know, Isabella said casually, almost proudly. The separation. Adrian already agreed to split the wedding money. Arizona makes it easy. It's basically guaranteed cash. Elena covered her mouth. Her daughter, her firstborn, was calmly planning a divorce just 1 month after the wedding. Not because of the cheating, but because of money. Wedding money, down payment money, her money. Maya hummed thoughtfully. So when do you plan to leave Adrian? 2 months, Isabella said. I need her to help us secure the house first. After that, I'm done pretending. The words pierced Elena like shards. Pretending. Her daughter had been pretending. Every hug, every thank you, every mom, I need your help. All of it. Rehearsed. Elena felt something break inside her, a clean, sharp break she knew she would never forget. She backed away quietly, returning to her office without making a sound. She shut the door, locked it, sat down slowly, heart pounding. For the first time in her life, Elena felt like a stranger in her own family, and as she wiped the tears from her cheeks, she realized this betrayal wasn't accidental, it was planned, and she needed to decide her next move before they made theirs. There are moments in life when a person stops being who they were and becomes who they were meant to be. For Elena Morales, that moment arrived the same morning she heard her daughter's betrayal echoing through her house. She didn't react with anger. She didn't storm upstairs. She didn't confront anyone. Instead, she sat quietly in her chair, hands folded, eyes staring at nothing. It felt like the world had stopped spinning, like time itself had paused so she could finally see the truth she had been blind to for years. She had spent her whole life giving, her money, her time, her home, her peace, her forgiveness. And in return, she had received manipulation, lies, convenience love, performed affection, empty gratitude. It was like waking up from a long dream and realizing the people she loved most had been writing their own script, using her as the tool that made their plans possible. For the first time, Elena asked herself, what about me? She looked around her office, her sanctuary, family photos, business files, bills, memories, and now betrayal sitting like dust in every corner. Then something happened, a sensation, a slow, steady strength rising within her. Not anger, clarity. A new Elena began forming inside that silent room. Not the Elena who said yes to everything. Not the Elena who forgave too fast. Not the Elena who paid for everyone's comfort while slowly losing her own life. No, this Elena was different. She opened a drawer and pulled out a blank notebook. Not the one with wedding numbers and painful details. A new one, a fresh page, a fresh decision. At the top, she wrote one sentence. From today onward, I choose myself. Her hand shook, but her heart didn't. That line wasn't anger, it wasn't revenge, it was survival, a promise to herself. She turned the page and made 4 calm, firm notes. Protect my home, protect my business, protect my savings, protect my future. Then she underlined each one. The old Elena would have cried for hours, would have begged her daughters to treat her with love, would have blamed herself for their behavior, but the new Elena, she simply whispered, "Not anymore." At that moment, footsteps sounded in the hall. Isabella's voice, cheerful and unaware. "Mom, are you home? Adrian and I want to talk about the down payment." Elena closed her notebook. She inhaled deeply. This was no longer a house of love. It was a battlefield she hadn't realized she was standing in, but now she was awake, and she was ready. Because Elena had finally understood one thing. Family can betray you quietly, but reclaiming your power makes the loudest noise of all, and the storm was only just beginning. A person becomes dangerous the moment they stop being afraid. That's the version of Elena that walked out of her office that afternoon, calm, steady, and no longer blind. She found Isabella, Maya, and Dylan sitting around the dining table, whispering about money, plans, and the house they wanted Elena to fund. When they saw her, they all went silent, almost like they sensed something had changed. Isabella smiled sweetly. "Mom, we were just waiting for you. Adrian and I can show you the house pictures, and you'll love it." Dylan leaned back casually. "And Maya told us you've been thinking about the car. That's great." "I haven't been thinking about the car," Elena cut in calmly. Her voice was steady, but it sliced the air like a blade. Maya blinked. "What do you mean?" Elena pulled out a chair, but didn't sit. "I want everyone here to listen carefully, and don't interrupt me." The room stiffened. "I've spent years giving," Elena began. "I gave you my home, my money, my time, my peace, and all I asked for in return was love, respect, honesty." No one spoke. They exchanged nervous looks. "But now I know the truth." Isabella tensed slightly. "What truth?" Elena looked straight at her daughter, steady, unblinking. "I heard your phone call this morning." Silence. Maya's face drained of color. Dylan's smirk vanished. Isabella stiffened like someone had poured ice water down her back. "What phone call?" Isabella tried to laugh, but her voice cracked. "The one where you planned to distract me," Elena said. "The one where you discussed the down payment. The one where you mentioned divorce in 2 months." Isabella swallowed hard, her face pale, her mouth open, but no words came out. "And the one," Elena continued, "where you and Maya spoke about using me." Maya stood quickly. "Elena, this is a misunderstanding." "No, it's not." Her voice was firmer now. "Not anymore." Elena finally sat down, but she didn't break. Her eyes stayed sharp. "I know about Adrian, the photos, the affair before the wedding." Isabella's breath caught. Her hands trembled. Elena leaned forward slightly. "You married a man who cheated on you hours before the ceremony, and instead of walking away, you planned to make money from it." Isabella's eyes filled with panic. Panic Elena had never seen before. "And you expected me to pay for your house," Elena said softly, "so you could leave him in 2 months and take the wedding money with you." Maya choked out, "Elena, please." But Elena raised her hand to silence them. "I am done being played, and starting today, everything changes." The room felt like it couldn't breathe, because Elena's next move wasn't just going to surprise them, it was going to destroy every plan they had ever made. The moment you decide to fight back, life sends you the tools you need. For Elena, that tool appeared in the form of a name she found on Google at 2 a.m. Attorney Rafael Cortez, specialist in property rights, financial protection, and family asset security. After the confrontation with her daughters, Elena didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't plead. She opened her laptop and decided to protect herself. The next morning, she sat in Raphael's office, holding a folder filled with printed photos from the wedding, notes she had written, timelines, overheard conversations, expenses, and every detail she could remember. Raphael, a calm man in his 50s with steady eyes, listened without interrupting. When she finished, there was a long silence. Elena, he finally said, you have been emotionally, financially, and psychologically manipulated for years. She swallowed hard. They've made you believe giving more would earn you love, but it didn't. He pushed his glasses up. And now it's time to take your life back. Elena exhaled, a shaky breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Raphael opened a folder and took out several papers. I'll give you 3 steps. If you follow them, your daughters and their partners will have no legal access to anything you own. Elena leaned forward. Step 1, Raphael said. Serve Maya and Dylan an eviction notice. Immediately. They have no lease, no rights, and no entitlement. Elena nodded slowly. Step 2, we create an irrevocable trust. Your home, your business, your savings, all go inside it. Like, you stay in full control while you're alive. But after your death, the trust follows your rules, not your daughter's demands. Her breaths grew steadier. And step 3, Raphael said, lowering his voice, change your will entirely. Leave only the legal minimum to your daughters, nothing more. The rest goes where you want. Elena stared at him. This was the moment she became unshakable. She asked, how soon can we start? Raphael smiled. Right now, I'll prepare everything. But Elena, he paused, what you're doing will change your relationship with your daughters forever. Elena closed her folder gently. They changed it first. She signed the engagement papers. She signed the trust setup. She signed the new will. Her hand didn't tremble, not even once. On her way out, Raphael handed her a sealed envelope. These are the eviction documents. Serve them today. The law will handle the rest. Elena held the envelope, feeling its weight. Not fear, not sadness, power. Because once Elena walked through that door, the countdown began, and nothing in her house would ever be the same again. People show their real faces the moment they realize they can no longer use you. Elena saw those real faces the second she walked into her home with the envelope in her hand. Maya and Dylan were sitting comfortably on the couch, like they owned the place. Netflix on, shoes off, snacks everywhere, 0 responsibility, 0 gratitude. They didn't even look at her when she entered. Elena, can you bring me a drink? Maya asked, casually. She didn't know that her world was about to turn upside down. Elena placed the sealed envelope on the coffee table. Open it, she said calmly. Maya paused the TV and frowned. What is this? Elena, we're busy, Dylan muttered without even glancing up. Elena didn't move. Open it. Something in her voice made both of them sit up straight. Maya tore the envelope open, and her eyes widened. What is this? She whispered. Dylan grabbed the papers. His face turned pale. Elena! What the hell is this? An eviction notice? Are you kidding me? Elena stood tall, spine straight, voice steady. You have 30 days to leave my house. No arguments, no discussion. Maya's voice cracked. You're kicking us out? After everything I've done for you? After all the help? Help? Elena repeated softly. You lived here for almost 3 years without paying a single dollar. You used my money, my kindness, my home, and called it help. Dylan stood up aggressively. You can't just throw us out. We have rights. No, Elena said firmly. You don't. Not legally, not morally. Maya's eyes filled with tears, not of heartbreak, but of panic. Elena, where will we go? We don't have savings. Elena's reply was quick. That is not my responsibility anymore. Maya choked on a sob. You heard one phone call and now you hate us? Elena shook her head slowly. I didn't hear one phone call. I heard the truth. Silence. I heard how you planned to use me, Elena continued, how you laughed about manipulating me, how you talked about keeping me distracted so Isabella could take advantage of me. Maya covered her mouth, trembling. Elena, I didn't mean those things. You meant every word, Elena said calmly. Dylan glared. This is all because of Isabella, isn't it? She turned you against us. Elena's voice lowered, dangerous, controlled. No, you turned me against you when you stopped respecting me. She walked toward the stairs. You have 30 days. Pack your things, and do not ask me for a single dollar. Maya burst into tears. Dylan cursed under his breath, but Elena didn't look back. She felt lighter. but she knew the hardest confrontation was still waiting, because Isabella and Adrian had no idea what was coming next, and when Elena finally confronted them, it wouldn't just expose their plan, it would destroy it completely. The strongest people are not the ones who never break, but the ones who finally decide they will break no more. Elena repeated those words to herself as she rang the doorbell to Isabella and Adrian's apartment, the place where the biggest truth of her life would finally unfold. The door opened. Adrian stood there, smiling like he had done nothing wrong. "Elena! Isabella's inside. Come in, come in!" His charm felt poisonous now. Isabella appeared behind him, beautiful and glowing, but her eyes held a flicker of nervousness. "Mom," she said softly, "I'm glad you came. We really need to finalize the down payment today." Elena stepped inside without responding. She placed a folder on the dining table and sat down. "Before we talk about money," she began quietly, "I need both of you to listen." They exchanged confused glances but sat. Elena opened the folder. The first page was a photo, the kiss Adrian shared with the red-haired woman. Isabella's jaw dropped. Adrian's face drained of color. Elena spoke slowly, every word sharp and controlled. "I know everything. The affair, the timing, the plan to stay married long enough to take the wedding money, the idea to use me for the house deposit." Isabella shook her head frantically. Mom, it's not what you think. Adrian and I—" "Stop!" Elena's voice was soft but unbreakable. "You haven't told me the truth in years. Don't start pretending now." Adrian opened his mouth, but Elena raised her hand. "I'm not interested in excuses. I'm here to end this." She took out the trust papers, the new will, the legal documents. "You will receive nothing from me," Elena said calmly. "No house money, no financial help, no inheritance beyond what the law requires." Isabella's breath shattered. "Mom, you can't do this. I'm your daughter." Elena's eyes filled, not with weakness but with pain turned into power. "I raised you with love. I gave you everything, and you plan to use me like a bank, like a tool, like I wasn't even human." Isabella burst into tears. "Mom, please, don't leave me like this. I made mistakes, but—" Elena stood. "This isn't punishment," she whispered. "This is protection. For me, for the life I have left, for the woman I lost while trying to buy love from people who never valued me." Adrian stepped back, rubbing his forehead. "So what happens now?" Elena picked up her folder. "What happens now," she said, walking to the door, "is that I finally choose myself." Isabella reached out, sobbing. "Mom, don't go, please, just listen." Elena paused at the doorway. "I spent my whole life being scared to disappoint people, but today I face the biggest fear of all, walking away from those who hurt me." She looked at her daughter one last time. "When you're ready to offer real love, not manipulation, you know where to find me." Then she walked out, not broken, not bleeding, free. Outside, the sun hit her face like a blessing. For the first time, she felt the weight lift off her shoulders. Years of pain, finally gone. She whispered to herself, "It's never too late to start over."